Hello, dear listener, dear viewer. Welcome to yet another episode of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. I'm happy that you can take time to spend some time with us. My guest today is Mr. THEMBA MATABISWANA, who is a telecommunications engineer and an entrepreneur. We're going to talk about digital transformation. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
I always want you to introduce yourself as a guest, to tell the viewer what it is that you actually do and what it is you're going to share with them.
Okay, my name is THEMBA MATABISWANA. Professionally, I'm a telecoms engineer. I'm also an entrepreneur, one of the co-owners of Access Point. We make business process automation software, particularly focused to the property management industry.
Okay, we're going to talk about digital transformation. It's a very topical subject, but let's get our teeth into it. We're going to talk about business processes automation.
Okay.
What is business process automation and why is it important to an entrepreneur or to a business?
Okay, business process automation is actually the proper term for digital transformation. Business processes are workflows in a business, from customers calling to issuing paper-based work orders to staff for customer service. Business process automation is now the digital transformation of those processes. For example, we have banks with apps. Now, instead of walking into the bank to cash a check, we have banking apps that automate these processes. And what that does is it enhances your customer service, because now I don't have to drive to the bank. For the bank itself, it minimizes their paper expenses. Looking at all of the waste, this is a concept that actually started with Toyota. Anybody who knows a Toyota car knows that they're very, very reliable vehicles. The Toyota production system is based on the Toyota way, and this is by identifying waste and getting rid of that waste. And the easiest way to do this is through digital transformation.
Let's talk to SMMEs and entrepreneurs. How do they get their teeth into automation? Just say an example of somebody who's just starting a business from scratch.
Okay, get their teeth into automation. Starting a business from scratch. This is where we jump into cloud computing. We've got Google. Google is the most underutilized resource, I believe, out here. Google has Google Apps for free, which include Google Docs, Google Drive, your Gmail. All these allow you to store and work with documents in what we call the cloud on the internet. These can then be shared with accountants. And as an SMME starting out, one of the reason I love FNB and their IT. FNB has a integrated.
I'm sure they appreciate your shameless plug of them. Yeah.
Accounting
You're promoting
system.
them.
No.
Yeah.
FNB has an integrated accounting system with their business accounts. This is brilliant in terms of business process outsourcing. We all know that accounting is an outsourced profession. In terms of an SMME starting out, to minimize your costs, you want to outsource as much of non-essential processes as possible, accounting being one, buying paper being the other. This is where cloud computing comes in.
Okay, let's talk a bit more about this cloud computing. Just assume zero knowledge.
Okay.
All I know that it has nothing to do with clouds that carry water. That's all I know. But beyond that, just explain to the viewer how it works and what it is.
Okay, cloud computing. In cloud computing, we have 3 different stages. We have infrastructure as a service, we have platforms as a service, and software as a service. Take, for example, Google servers or Facebook. Facebook is the biggest software as a service company I've ever seen, and it's an advertising agency. Google you have your Google Drive where you can store photos, where you can store documents. This is the cloud. We're connected through various portals or pipelines, shall I say, to Google servers. Google has servers everywhere in the world, almost on every continent. And we've all heard of data centers. This is where the information is stored, the cloud being the internet. And this then leads us to the platforms to access the cloud. And now we'll go to software as a service, because this is what Google and Microsoft are. Your Office 365, a lot of companies have started using Microsoft Teams. Your Google is a software as a service. This is where you pay for your usage, so per user, per month. It makes computing more affordable. Before, what we knew it as were just mobile phones.
In your experience, given that you work very much in this space non-stop, I mean, this is where you are, is there an uptake? Are Botswana responding?
Outside of the corporate and outside of the larger SMEs, no. Unfortunately, one of the things that pains me the most about Botswana is our failure to build on the national broadband plan. And what we haven't yet captured what is 4IR or Industry 4.0.
Yeah, we'll get to that as a subject.
Yes.
But,
So
but explain to Botswana what the broadband plan for the nation is. Is it a book? Is it a policy?
It is a plan to roll out, to get internet to as many of us as possible. It's, in my opinion, a little outdated. As we've seen, we need to be agile or mobile, shall I say. That's the big key, mobile. Your mobile phone is now your office. We've seen it as a form of business continuity, resilience. COVID-19 took a lot of us by surprise.
Completely.
And a lot of us still had desktops chained to offices. And nobody really had internet at home. Our internet penetration rate at home is very, very bad.
Yeah.
But our mobile phone uptake is one of the best in the world. That's the sign.
We'll come back to that when we develop our discussion a bit further.
To what the uptake should be.
Yeah, we'll go a little bit further. I want us to talk about software as a service.
Okay.
People are thinking of software as a service from the point of view, is it monetizable? Is it something that one can really live off? That's one question. The second part of my question would be, exactly how does it work in practical terms for you who are in the industry? How do you provide the service of software now?
Okay, software as a service, can you live off it? It depends. This is a very, very big question. Yes, a very big yes, if you know what you're doing. And I'm going to say, if you know what you're doing, not everyone can develop a platform. And the key, this is how the world became, when we speak of globalization. and becoming a knowledge-based economy. The professionals, being able to use these software platforms to provide yourself as a service. QuickBooks is an accounting platform and has there's an online version. Accountants no longer need to sit in your office to do your accounting. They can use that software to then service clients X, Y, and Z on top of you. It no longer ties us to time-based contracts. We are now going to performance-based. The faster and better
Someone was saying we're getting into a gig economy.
Yes.
Where everything's based on a gig, a specific job.
Yes. And it's the faster and better I do this. It goes back to the Toyota production system. The faster and better I do this, but keeping quality.
Okay.
And you use those software platforms to provide your service. So everyone can use it. Anyone can provide a cleaning company and have their clients use an app to request can you come clean? Can you come pick up the bin? As opposed to just having a cleaner there every day. And this is how we are developing. With Access Point, we provide it to property management companies. Their tenants can pay rent through the app. They can request maintenance from their property management companies. Landlords can then see these interactions. I know landlords have issues with rent, with deductions from the rentals. And this is how we get to streamline operations. An electrician sitting in Broadhurst can be an authorized vendor. He is then able to he pays Access Point a fee per month.
Yes.
And he becomes a vetted, authorized vendor. And say, as a property owner, your tenant in a house doesn't always break something that you're responsible for, but you don't want
let's just make it easy for you. The cosmetics, they're responsible too.
Yes.
For structural, I'm responsible.
Yes. Now, but cosmetics, you don't want anybody just coming to patch up your house.
Yes, yes.
So that
true.
list of authorized vendors, that electrician or plumber or painter is now sitting waiting for a maintenance request through the app. Okay. That is how he is now making money off software as a service. I provide the software.
And it seems that the uses are limitless almost.
The uses are, yes, the business cases are endless. And this is where we get to the business process automation. Because you as the owner and your property managers are also watching this process within the app. And there is no phone calls or paper, work orders, or invoices. Everything then becomes automated and it is time saving. That is the one cost or one waste that the Toyota way promotes. A person has to understand that they themselves are a cost. Your time is a cost.
Wow. Let's take our discussion a little bit further. Let's talk about information technology governance, IT governance.
Yes.
Explain the concept and let's see how it applies to our country and the region.
Okay, IT governance started with the King 3 in 2009. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with the King report on corporate governance. IT governance started with King 3. And it's more of developing best practices within organizations. Is this software good for me? A lot of, even within our organization, as an owner, I am not in charge of IT because I am in charge of other things. We do separate, we do also have, one of the things SMMEs fail is to establish a board or separate ownership from running the business. And that is where IT governance comes in. We have been recently in Botswana. We've had...
You say it was developed in 09.
Yes, the King 3, King
But
Report
things
3.
have come a long way since 11 years ago.
There's King Report 4 now. Bokra is doing amazing things in terms of IT governance. Quality of, we call it quality of service and quality of experience. This speaks hugely to what are your service providers providing, and what is the experience of the customers, and that speaks to the IT governance. Is this tech that I am getting quality, and what is it of service to me?
I understand. So in terms of legislation, does the government become involved? Or is it something that industry is self-regulating in that regard?
Industry itself should be self-regulating. In terms of Bokra, there is a Communications Act. So I do encourage IT service providers to jump on the Bokra website, because Bokra, those guidelines are actually enforceable by our Communications Act. You know.
So it criminalizes certain conduct.
Yes, it does.
Such as operating without a license, or without?
Yes, such as operating without a license, such as one thing people don't know. I've seen complaints about the internet. Your internet service provider, slow speeds. Your internet service provider at peak time cannot provide less than 75% of what they advertised to you.
How will you know? Because you won't be able to conduct a survey. You won't know whether you're part of the 25% or 75%.
This is
when your internet is slow.
This is where reporting comes in. There will be. There has been a recent attempt to implement IT auditing of firms, so including their billing systems. Bokra is doing amazing things in terms of IT governance.
Let's talk about 4IR. Everybody talks about the fourth industrial revolution. It's this big, wonderful thing that is going to make us super happy or change our lives dramatically. What can you tell a Motswana watching at home or wherever, or any viewer, about the 4IR?
Okay, I think it's best we start with the first industrial revolution. You know, steam and mass production, and mass production came in the second with electricity.
The locomotive.
Yes.
The steam locomotive.
Yes.
Was the first.
Yes. And mass production came with electricity.
That was number?
2.
2, okay.
Number 3 was computers and automation.
That's in the 80s and 90s.
Yes. And automation and the internet was part of number 3. Number 3.5, there is a 3.5, was globalization. Globalization was...
And when did that take place? Because
this was the 80s as well, 80s and 90s.
Yes, okay.
Globalization is was the method by which corporates overseas took everything offshore to low
lower the cost of production.
Yes, economies, which doesn't sound too good, but and then number 4,
where we are now.
Yes, where we are now. There is number 5 actually. Yes,
it's yet to come.
Number 5 is where we are focusing right now.
But are we sort of on the verge of it, or?
Okay, the thing
we're talking about the 5th industrial revolution. Now,
yes.
I wasn't sure that it was that. I didn't think it was that close.
We call them Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0.
Yeah.
Industry 3.0 is, I took part in a project, Dikgatlong Dam and water utilities, beautiful projects. Are controlled from Mama Shia. That is automation of industry.
Yes.
By computers. You can start and stop a pump at Dikgatlong Dam from Mama Shia just here.
Sort of remotely.
Remotely. That took on a sort of a blurred line, and the fourth industrial revolution started the minute we had smartphones. And this is where it comes to digital identities. The minute you...
So in Botswana, I would say 98. That's when
Yes.
Mascom and Orange were licensed.
We still had phones then. Smartphones started sort of 2013.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes.
The super smart ones. Okay. Like
Yes.
this. Yeah.
The minute the easiest way to define it, the minute you logged into a phone with a unique identity, being your email address, and sent or received data in real time in a convenient way for yourself or the end user to see, an email.
I was in the 4IR.
You were part of the Internet of Things.
Yeah. So
That smartphone.
would you now say we're at 4.5?
Yes. Now, the reason they say it's blurry is things like clean energy. We've had solar power for years. But things like digital technologies like blockchain, a lot of people think of it as Bitcoin, but blockchain ledgers are being used to supplement the grid. You know, you can have this whole complex as solar powered, and the energy can't be stored.
This
It has
whole
to be used.
Mogobe Plaza.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Energy can't be stored. It has to be used. So you feed it back into the grid. That's Form 5 physics. So you feed it back into the grid. You sell it back to BPC to supplement. And there's a lot of digital technology behind that that is allowing that. You know, solar power is very, very inefficient. Dissipates heat. Formula One racers will know it because they have a braking system that now powers cars. They call it KERS. And these are the digital technologies that are changing. When they say change the way we live and work, banking apps.
Yes.
Have
No, you
changed the
can
way
mention them. It's okay.
I mentioned
FNB is
them
number
because
one.
They have the best tech.
Yeah.
Jealous Down, they have the best tech.
Yeah. I think they have a bunch of geeks working on technology
Yes.
non-stop.
Yes.
They're way ahead of
And
everybody.
This is changing the way we live and work.
Yes.
I can now pay for things or use my card online to buy groceries. These apps I can, there's a local app that supports food businesses. My Foodness supports food businesses. I can order from Spar and pay online.
I'm going to push you into the next nugget or the next subject,
Yes.
which is the Internet of Things.
Yes.
There's a controversial technology associated with that.
Yes.
It involves a number and a letter.
Yes.
And some of us are reluctant to mention it because there are those who say if you mention it too much, you might be censored.
Yes.
But it's a controversial technology tied with the Internet of Things.
Okay.
How far are we from the Internet of Things?
We are in the middle of the Internet of Things. Internet of Things depends on what you perceive it to be. That number and letter is actually a standard. What we need to understand is the first mobile phones was calling. That's 1G, 2G, mobile phones and SMSs basically, and a little bit of data. 3G brought the ability to do things like WhatsApp. That 3G, WhatsApp is a communication platform using the internet. That's 4IR right there on your mobile phone.
Yeah.
Facebook.
But it's still not 4G.
4G is a standard for telecommunications. It means it's an IP-only network. You don't buy airtime to call. I've seen it in South Africa. If you jump across the border and you try and make a call, it's going to ask you, do you want to use voice over LTE? We saw it voice over IP phones back a while ago. That's moved to your mobile phone. And that's 4G. But 4G technically doesn't exist yet.
Really?
No.
Why do you say that?
They are, you see, now we have standards set by the European Telecommunication Standards Institute.
You mean it doesn't exist yet in Botswana, or it doesn't exist yet, period?
A full 4G network, I am yet to see one anywhere. What they call it is LTE. That's the bridge in between.
Which stands for?
Long-term evolution. And 4G starts at 100 megabit per second for a stationary object. Up to 1 gig per second for a moving object. Now, the next...
What are you describing? Sounds very technical.
I'm describing your data rate, your speed.
The ability to transfer data. Okay.
Your ability to transfer data. I have seen that once in Botswana, recently. Orange did a beautiful thing and rolled out 4G. In the middle of the lockdown.
Yeah.
Yes. And
the real 4G.
The real 4G. Everything else is LTE. When we have an IP-based network where everything works by data, I'll say we have 4G. Now, the next evolution to that is 5G, which is now connecting 1 million devices. It's a standard. 1 million devices per 1 square kilometer at 99% availability. We call it 5 nines. 99.999% availability at 1 gig per second.
Yeah.
And for that to happen, 99.999% availability, it means 5.37 minutes downtime per year.
Yeah.
This is, when we talk about industries running on data networks, you can't have, just recently we had an outage. You can't have Bofinet say there's a cable broken. That is a whole country running on the internet. And we're very far from that. 1 million devices.
How far is very far? Years, months?
Years. 1 million devices.
Decades?
1 million devices per square kilometer. I think we've got 3 million devices in the whole country.
As we speak, countries like China, places like Wuhan,
yes,
places like
now
have done it.
Yes, they've done it. Now Wuhan was last year in, was it February? Wuhan started their trials with Huawei. One thing, guys, we need to understand is what has been happening in the world as we've come to this point right now.
With COVID, you mean?
With COVID. Last year, we witnessed the world starting to go into recession. One of the things was the tech war between Trump and Huawei, and the trade war between US and China.
Which contributed to the recession.
Yes, which contributed to the recession. In the middle, when COVID was rolling out, I was, should I say, lucky enough to be working during December? We launched Access Point 2.0 with analytics, with data analytics during December. I was working during December, so
during Christmas.
During Christmas, I was working. So I've been paying attention to what's going on. End of January, Trump and China signed a trade deal. And these are the things that, and Huawei started rolling out across the world.
5G.
I don't buy into some stories.
Conspiracy theories.
Yes.
Which we'll try and avoid for the purpose of this
discussion.
Maybe I'll invite you back specifically to analyze them.
So what's gone on in
because
between?
The controversy has now become too big.
Yes, what's gone on in between? Microsoft took over the United States Department of Defense contract for cloud computing. At Access Point, we use Amazon Web Services, which was the previous go-to in terms of data security. And Microsoft took over that. And Microsoft are leading together with Huawei. They are together in rolling out certain platforms. So it makes you sit back and want to think, like, you know,
why this is going on.
So we will come back and discuss.
We'll discuss. Data security, you touched on Microsoft.
Data security, there is one thing. In this age of digital transformation, how many, we've seen in Botswana, people carelessly screenshot and share and pass around messages and
without even thinking. Some without even reading.
Saving grams from the government, and we're in this age where people are working from home. How sure are you that your company information is not being emailed to everybody?
No, it could be happening.
It could be happening.
It just takes one rogue employee from a government department or from a bank.
Exactly.
It just takes one.
It just takes one. And at Access Point, this is what we are pushing for in terms of IT governance, using certain platforms. We use Google. We're testing a lot. We realize a lot of people have Microsoft accounts. I've been doing a lot of testing during the lockdown. On data security, I've got 2 devices. One is enrolled as a company device.
This one?
Yes.
With one SIM card? Right?
Yes. And it's enrolled. Google has an admin policy. My IT admin, even though work is, my employee, he is in charge of devices. I cannot install or pass around or share things without my IT admin knowing that I did it. These are the trackers, and this is the IT governance. I am not in charge of IT. I cannot put anybody on our system.
Just for the benefit of the viewer, what can happen if there is no digital security, and what is the worst case have you seen in Botswana which shows the dangers of absence of digital security? Maybe not necessarily in Botswana.
The worst case, I remember, I think it was last year, or was it the year before, I remember seeing the pay slip of the Okavango Diamond Company's MD on WhatsApp. That is the danger of data security.
Or lack thereof.
Yes. I remember seeing a managing director of a state-owned parastatal of one of our most secure resources. I remember seeing his payslip. That is failed
Your
data.
company can assist companies to ensure that this doesn't happen.
Yes.
Let's talk about digital, because this is a very vast subject, digital identities.
Okay.
What is that in your industry?
A digital identity. Google has this beautiful platform, Google Cloud Platform, and which provides a digital identity would be your company email address. I have seen recently a flyer where you have got to email something in at bwgovernment@gmail.com. That is an unsafe address. That's a personal email address. One person controls that. Your company email address and that member at mogobe.co.bw, that is a digital identity. That is the identity they use to log in to certain systems.
Yes.
That is an identity controlled by IT admin. That is an identity that can be tracked. You see, so once you have company-owned devices, because now we're agile, we're mobile, you want that person to log in only with your company identity. And when they are downloading information onto that device, You can disable WhatsApp, you can enable WhatsApp. When they're downloading information, you track exactly what it is they were downloading. What were you sharing? Where did you send this to? These are the things that we track within our company.
Okay. Is it expensive to set up defensive software to deal with that?
Not really. It's not expensive. The nice thing about Google is when you sign up with them, they have all of these platforms waiting for you. Now this goes to Google, the business side, what we call G Suite. They have all these platforms available. You just need someone who knows how to use them. Yeah.
So that is the kind of service that you do provide?
Yes.
All right. Now we come to the end of our discussion. I want to call you back specifically to deal with this technology, to deal with 5G, and to deal with the Internet of Things. I really want that as a separate subject.
Okay.
So please, I want you to commit that you'll come back when I invite you.
I will come back.
But as you part, what is your takeaway? What is the one takeaway that the listener can go away with from this? What is a bonus when you're talking about business continuity during COVID-19? Can you delve into that as a bonus point to summarize some of the points we were talking about?
Okay. Business continuity during COVID-19. Any business that still uses paper, that still relies on manual processes is going to have a very hard time, in the coming. It is time, business continuity.
In the coming, don't say another wave of COVID. No, I'm
going to say in the coming 3 months.
Oh.
A lot of companies, a lot of businesses, and I'm going to be very frank, are going to close in the next 3 months.
Why?
The economic, because of what's happened from the economy. One thing is, to continue business, you're going to have to downsize. And you're going to have to be very agile. And it's going to need digital transformation. You're going to need to embrace the internet, working, outsourcing certain processes. I cannot afford to have an accountant on my staff full time because, as you know, as a property owner, property managers didn't get paid really in the last, over the last 2 or 3 months.
Yes.
So we took a hit. I'm not going to kick my clients off. We took a hit, everybody took a hit, but you've got to keep going, and it's that business continuity. It's because we are very agile that we were able to keep going, and I don't have paper and pens to pay for and manual processes. I've just got to keep paying Google for our accounts.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Themba, for sharing so generously. How does the viewer reach you? You've provoked some thoughts, some ideas, and you do offer very, very great services. How do they reach you? How do they get to use Access Point?
We've got a website, accesspoint.co.bw. That's AXESSPOINT.co.bw. There's a self-sign-on page. We've got an app on the Play Store, and once you sign up, there will be somebody who will walk you through the sign-up process.
Okay, Facebook, what are the contact points?
Yes, we are on Facebook. We are, everything's on the website.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay, that's a starting point.
Yeah.
Now, would you care to encourage the listener, the viewer, to subscribe to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom, please?
Definitely. I would definitely recommend it. I subscribe myself. There is not one source of wisdom, so if you think you know, you don't know. I would rather take it from those who've treaded the dangerous waters before us.
Thank you very much for your sharing your wisdom. Thank you, dear listener. Until next time, this is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe signing off.